What is up, stinkers? And as you just saw in those clips, this is definitely by far just the best arcane build. I don't want to say it's the best build in the game, but we all know the arcane is kind of the meta right now, and it is probably the best if you're trying to just do arcane. This is meant to just like be an overall, like you can take this through the whole game. It's probably the easiest one to get because all you have to do is invest all your points into arcane. Obviously, this character is very high level. You could do this at like level 100 or even like 70 or something, as long as you're just dunking points into arcane. These two scythes you can get very, very early in the game, like from the start of your playthrough. Like you don't even need to kill a boss um, at all. I'll show you how to get it at the end of this video. And these two rapiers, you do need to get a little bit further in the game, but by the time you get these two scythes, you will just be able to go easily farm for these two rapiers. You can put the loadout on these. And obviously, the Dragon Communion Seal is the best one. You can get this from the first grave in the game, right here at the Shrine of Graveyard. It's in the tomb where you wake up in, but you need a Stone Sword key. And you go to the end of that, there's a secret area where you can get this seal, and it scales with your arcane. This is the arcane seal. Like, if you're going to use arcane, you need this seal. Otherwise, it just won't end up being that great. This is the only one that scales with your arcane. But this build uses a little bit of everything, and it's meant to be a all-around type build. And the problem with arcane builds has been, yeah, the build-ups on status effects like bleed and poison and scarlet rot, those are all great and all, until you happen to fight an enemy that is completely immune to that. If you're using two rapiers with bleed and you fight like a rock type enemy or an enemy that can't bleed, you're in for a bad time. Rapiers don't do enough damage, or really anything wouldn't do enough damage if you put bleed on it, because it obviously turns your scaling down. You can see how weak these are, because even at level 25 they only do like 400 damage, because the blood loss buildup is what it's all going into. So I showed off in my last video this thing that no one's talking about. If you go to your Ashes of War, let's see, let's just find something random. The dismounter. For certain Ashes of War, mostly the blood ones and the poison ones, where you can apply the arcane. The three ones there is poison, blood, and occult. Poison is, I've never seen anyone use this. It's cool for PvP, I guess, if you can proc poison someone, because it'll just like keep them running from you, keep them needing to heal. Um, Blood is obviously the go-to for a lot of people, but like I said, when an enemy can't bleed, this is a problem, right? But then occult, no one is talking about this, but occult is so good, and you can see the scaling that I get here. The raw damage is pretty high, but also the scaling is the highest, and that's obviously because I have 80 arcane. But the whole point is, if you're gonna be making an arcane build, why waste your points on strength and dexterity when you can just go all in on arcane and then use the occult scaling? So in the last video, my build was dual Zweihanders and dual rapiers, but I've updated the build to the two scythes, as you can tell. Because the problem with these is, obviously, you're going to occult, so it's raw damage, and the whole thing is, if an enemy bleeds, toss on the rapiers, enemy doesn't bleed, toss on the Zweihanders, right? But the thing about the scythes is that it already comes with blood loss, so you're getting blood loss and occult damage, but also something I want to show off right now on this guy, and you've probably seen this guy a lot in my videos. I use him as a test dummy a lot. You can see here, the raw damage I'm about to output on these is going to be very high, but it's so slow, so watch. Pretty solid damage, but I got caught in animation there, you can see. Also, so I'm slow rolling now, these weigh a lot. I'm not trying to make it look bad, I'm just trying to show that if you're trying to just use your power stance attacks with it, the raw damage won't be enough to just like make up for enemies that have very high poise. This enemy here can bleed, and the whole point of this build is when an enemy bleeds, toss on the rapiers, right? So I'll show you what the rapiers can do against this guy. The problem with these rapiers, though, is you need to apply seppuku. You can see here, blood loss triggers about every power stance attack, which stuns him. So that's the whole thing. The rapiers are definitely the best for killing blood enemies, but the Zweihanders are for enemies that can't bleed. But the problem is, these Zweihanders are just so heavy, and also, if you watched the last video, you know that if you want two Zweihanders like I'm rocking right now, you need to actually either go into New Game Plus or mule one over, so it isn't very effective if you're just trying to have like a normal playthrough. This is where the grave scythes come in. So you can tell here, they're occult, but also at the same time they have 102 blood loss buildup. You might be thinking, holy hell, how does that happen? But just similar to the Uchikatanas, it actually comes with a built-in blood loss. It comes with 45 normal blood loss inherently, and then when you put blood on it, it gets up to 115. But the thing is, look at that raw damage that a cult gives you with it. But at the same time, since a cult is a scaling with arcane, it's actually making your blood loss go up anyway, even though you're not going into blood. So you're still getting that blood loss buildup, but you're also getting raw damage. So now if you were to take a look at the scythes, you can see here that inherently it actually comes with more blood loss than the Uchikatanas. And it doesn't require you to start in Samurai build. You can just farm these on any class you start. So this is definitely the most optimal way to get a blood loss arcane build going. See here, standard, it comes with 55 blood loss. Poison jumps it up to 70. Blood takes up to 141. And then occult takes up to 102. So you can see there that even if you were to just fully make this blood, it would still work better than the Uchikatanas or even the rapiers. But the whole thing is you don't want to have to keep swapping out your size every time. So you just keep the blood on the rapiers and put the occult on here. The raw damage obviously goes down with occult. It always does. The thing is the scaling is like way higher, like hundreds higher than everything else. So now, like I said, obviously these sides aren't going to work as good as the rapiers because the rapiers are made to kill enemies that can bleed, and this enemy can bleed, so you'd be better off using the rapiers. But just to show you that this thing can do damage itself, but also proc bleed, especially if you're using Lord of Blood's Exultion or the White Mask. You can get more damage with these. And with the rapiers, I never really use this with rapiers because, getting that extra damage doesn't matter when you're already getting less damage because of blood scaling. You're taking damage off your weapon to go into blood loss, but also at the same time it's a rapier, so it doesn't really do that much damage at all. So I never really use this, but with the scythe, whenever you proc bleed with this scythe, you're actually going to be getting a significant damage boost from the Lord of Blood's Exultion. I would be using the White Mask, but the only reason I'm not using it is because I think it looks ugly. I would use it, I'd be much stronger if I used it, but it's a very ugly mask. So I'll show you here. It's obviously not going to perform as well as the rapiers, but see the blood loss build up there, and that was 3,000 damage in 2 power attacks. Or not even power attacks, just power stance attacks. Boom. Didn't play my best there, took some damage, but that's fine. It shows you the damage that you can output with this thing. And then obviously the last part of this build is the Dragon Chameleon Seal. And this is for if an enemy just proves to be a little bit too annoying, you can just really sit back and spam magic on them with the Swarm of Flies. Definitely the best blood loss skill. But see, if like an enemy just proves to be too annoying, you can just sit back and do this. Enjoy your strength as like this blood god. They just can't do anything to counter it. So yeah. You can see how little FP that actually consumes. Talismans I'm using is the Urge Refavor 2. You can replace this really for anything. But for the most part, you can just really throw on anything you want, like Dragon Crest or anything like that. Just do what you personally prefer. But Taker's Cameo is for consuming HP when you kill enemies. So obviously that's just a little neat thing. You don't have to, if you're going through a long area, you're just healing as you kill, so you don't have to like eventually waste a flask or anything. You can just kill a couple weak adds and get your health back. Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, you can replace this for the Winged Sword Insignia if you're not far enough in the game. Once you get this, it makes it so successive attacks increase attack power. Once again, I didn't really use this because with the rapiers, you'd be doing these fast attacks, so obviously you're going to proc that a lot. Problem is, the rapiers just don't do damage. And with the Zweihanders, it's so slow that it won't really be counting as successive attacks. But with the scythes, you're doing fast and strong attacks, so you are actually proccing that, and you're benefiting a lot from it. The last thing is the Lord of Blood's Exultion. Obviously, blood loss in a vicinity increases attack power. You could also abuse this by tossing on a weapon with seppuku, and then you just hit yourself with it, and then it gives you that buff real quick, and you could just like switch back if you really just want to like abuse it and get that extra damage. And then every time you proc blood loss again after that, it'll just keep resetting the buff for you. But it is any blood loss. So if you have an ally summon and they cause blood loss, or you summon a mimic that does blood loss, or you yourself inflict blood loss on yourself or anything else, it'll give you that damage buff. And the same works for the white mask if you were to want to use that. Once again, I just really hate the look of it, so I don't like using it. But if you want max damage, definitely use that. I'll show you where to get both of these weapons now. And so first off, the easiest one to get is the scythe. So now, in order to get to the scythe, you literally just have to come here to the lake-facing cliffs. This is the first checkpoint in Liurnia. You do not have to kill any bosses to get here. The second you step out of the first step, you can just make your way down the road, grab Torn at the gate front, make your way up, and instead of turning to go fight Morgut, you can actually just keep going underneath this bridge, and you'll pass down here, move along the mountain, and you'll get to the lake-facing cliffs here. And now from here, all you need to do, hop on Torrent, ride yourself down to this graveyard here, and then a guy with a scythe will spawn, and you just kill him. And remember, it's a skeleton, so you have to hit it while it's on the floor to full kill it. And you see there, I got very lucky there, just got a grave scythe, but it shows you that that is how you get it. So I have proof right there. Um, these guys have a very, very low drop chance, so like I said, I was lucky there. Two more spawn right here, so when you kill that guy, you can run over here, kill these guys. Finish them off. Finish them off. Yeah, so once you kill those three guys, just teleport back to lake-facing cliffs. Once you get back up, you just make your way down and you rinse and repeat until you get yourself two of these scythes. Now, you can rock with one, obviously, if you don't have the upgrade materials for two. But dual wield is obviously the best because power stancing is just insane. But remember, like I said, these guys have a very, very low drop chance. When I was farming for these guys, I was using the silver scarab and a silver pickled foulfoot, and it still took me like 10 minutes to get two of these. I got very lucky there, and I got one on my first kill. But so yeah, just know when you're farming this, you're not doing anything wrong if you don't get any drops. It just really takes forever. So just have some patience. It's very easy to get though. Obviously, like I said, these enemies are very weak, and you don't have to fight any bosses or anything. You just come straight here from the start of the game, get yourself these two weapons, and you can make your way through the rest of the game with them. Now, if you want these rapiers, you want to make your way to the heart of Aeonia, or the Aeonia Swamp Shore. I'll show you both of these. It's in Caelid, the Aeonia Swamp Shore here. When you get here, just hop on Torrent, make your way down here to these little mushrooms here, and right around here, a Clean Rot Knight will spawn. You can see it in the ground there. Kind of have to move around a little bit to get it to like come out. But then once it does, you just gotta kill it real quick. I cannot hit it for anything. When you kill it, it'll either drop armor or the spear or a Clean Rot sword. So you can farm this guy. He has a lower chance of dropping it. So I actually farmed it here in the heart of Aeonia. The only problem is you have to kill Commander Nile to unlock this area, so this is a better farm, but you have to kill the commander, like I said, and he's a kind of tough boss fight, but it's not that hard. But once you get here, this is definitely a better farm. So from the side of Grace, you just want to head straight west, and you can see the Clean Rot Knight right there, and just boom. Now this guy can either drop a Halo Scythe, like right there, Clean Rot Armor, or the Clean Rot Knight Sword. And once again, you just run back, and since you're so close to the side of Grace, you can actually use a silver foot without having the debuff wear off when you teleport. And you can just keep going back and forth. He'll spawn right here, run past, boom. And you can just farm that guy. So that's how you get both these weapons. The Giant Communion Seal, I'll leave that to you to find. It is in the Stranded Graveyard. let me know if you want me to make a video on that, but I guarantee there's hundreds of videos out on it already. Um, Taker's cameo and all this, I'll leave that to you to find. Let me know if you want me to make a video on it. But yeah, that's the build. So obviously, Clean Rot Knight Sword, you want to put anything that can apply blood. Seppuku obviously is the best, but you need to get far in the game. So until then, you can rock with Bloody Slash, or you can rock with anything else that is just able to apply blood. So I'd say that this is definitely the like best arcane build because the Zweihanders with the Colt is obviously good, but since these do a little bit less damage, but they're faster, and it also comes with a free 102 blood loss. So if you just want to use that for straight damage instead of also having to apply seppuku every time to your rapiers, the scythes are definitely just the best for like an arcane blood loss build with the occult damage. It's just insane. They also look awesome. And then obviously the dual rapiers are better. This is definitely, like I said, probably the best arcane build. Um, and probably one of the easiest builds to just attain in general because you only have to dunk your points into arcane and nothing else. Um, Obviously you have to get up a little bit of strength and a little bit of dexterity if you want to just have the attributes required for the size and stuff. Um, and get a little bit of faith for the Dragon Companion seal. But otherwise, you can just start dunking everything into arcane because of the cult and blood loss scaling. But thank you for watching. I hope you guys use this build. I think it's really fun. But I'll see you in the next one.